administration, same president, same people in there, and they're still lollygagging around. What's that? Not good. You want to close it? Okay, there we go. I'm sorry. Anyway, please, I apologize for any problems that you guys may be experiencing as far as hearing me. Sometimes modulation on the microphones aren't as good. I had a problem with that with the other radio station we're on too. It was either too loud, too low, or just bouncing all over the place, a lot of static. But we'll work it out. Bear with us. As I was saying, the way Congress is going right now, they're just lollygagging around. You know, one's blaming the other. You know, it's just you get tired of hearing it. You can only beat a dead horse for so long, and something's got to give. You know, we're coming down to the last few weeks of 2012 before the first of the year, when all this stuff takes place. And we got to start doing something, or they got to start doing something. We already did our part and voted them in. Let's see what happens after that. I don't know if you guys been paying attention. Supposedly during the winter solstice, December 21st, Mayan calendar ended. A couple things are supposed to happen. Some people say going to get hit by a meteor. Some people say we're going to have a polar shift. I don't know what is going to happen. I got a friend of mine, good friend of mine. We grew up together. He works for NASA down in D.C. and he's enlightened me with a few things. Nothing that I'm concerned about. It's just a lot of hogwash out there. I'll say that. Let's see what happens. You know, winter solstice has been coming around for years. Happens every year. So we'll just see what happens. Some people say second coming of Christ is coming for the religious people out there. The ascension, the rapture, some people call it. I don't know if you guys remember last year, May 21st, we were supposed to have the rapture or something. That religious guy, the pastor, had signs all over the place. It didn't happen on May 21st, and then it was supposed to happen October 21st, and that didn't happen. Now we're a year away past it, and we're still here. So you can't always believe everything that goes on. You get somebody who misinterprets something and goes a little crazy. And I mean, I guess their intentions are good, but for the most part, you know, you just got to take it with a grain of salt, have a cup of coffee, and call it a day. But one thing's for sure is we are experiencing, as we were just talking about, the fiscal cliff that is coming. That is for real. You got the Democrats wanting to raise taxes. You got the Republicans doing everything they can to screw up. I mean, I guess they write the rule book on that. Look at Romney. For those of you Republican Romney fans, I'm sorry. I was just reading today. There was a guy, I seen a picture. He got a tattoo of the logo for the Romney-Ryan campaign. You know, the red, white, and blue R on the face he got. I mean, it was hideous to begin with, but he got it on there because he was such a big Romney fan. But since the election, what are we, almost 3.5 weeks past it? No, just under 3.5 weeks. Anyway, he's getting it taken back off because Romney just keeps blowing up and flowing at the mouth. You know, the guy just doesn't stop. He's a sore loser. You know, you didn't win 2008. You didn't win 2012. Let's just give it a break. And now we got Christie who's saying he may not run for presidency in 2016. Kind of surprising because I thought that was his main intention. But you don't know what's going to happen. Right now he says he's worried about being a governor. And his only challenger, Democrats, for some reason, we're a big Democratic state, but for some reason there's no good Democrat going up, and they got Cory Booker. You know, I don't know if you guys know about this. I've mentioned it several times, but this guy isn't exactly the best character as well. He's got 3 situations against him where he was arrested 3 different times for assault. You guys don't know that. People, I have family who are police officers, told me about it, and it's who we got to vote for. You know, the lesser of 2 evils isn't exactly the best either. Christie seems to be pulling his weight. That's not a pun. Um, he's doing a good enough job. He does anger some people because he says what he wants. And maybe that's what's necessary. You know, a lot of people like to cushion their blows and just touch base and not really, really address any situations. And I believe I have the Christie mentality. You say what you got to say, and I mean, you're not saying it to hurt people, but you are saying it to make people realize more constructively than anything. And sometimes people do get their feelings hurt, but they just got to step up to bat and do whatever. Not that I know everything, far from it, but people should be used to receiving other people's opinions, and that's pretty much what politics is everybody's opinion. Um, it's going away from the original philosophy of our framers, the forefathers, who put together the Constitution to protect our rights. You know, they got all these parties that popped up, and everyone wants to do this, everyone wants to do that. You know, it's not about individual people or individual parties. It's about America as a whole. And constitutionally, we're all protected. But you know, I don't know if you've been paying attention. I've mentioned it a few times. How the UN is trying to take away our constitutional rights by creating all these treaties. Now, UN, I know it's in New York, but it has nothing to do with America. We fund 23% of it, but you know, that should have no effect on. I mean, who are they to tell me I can or can't have a gun, or who are they to tell me? You know, now they're talking about Disabilities Act. You know, the UN. Okay, where I'm going to go to travel to Africa and worry about disability. I understand that, but realistically, it's not going to happen. You know, the individual countries have to do this, not the UN. You know, America's made strides for that, but basically it's just, you know, a piece of paper with some dots on it. You know, it's not going to do anything. It is very necessary, but realistically, you're not going to be able to implement that now. We don't have that much control over these countries yet. They're trying, though, trust me. They were doing other things, too. And gun rights. They're trying to take away our Second Amendment rights. Hillary Clinton's a big pusher of that. And when you have situations like happened in Colorado where that guy went up and shot up the movie theater. Now, granted, that was a sad situation, but you have to stop and wonder, what's more important, the derelicts who go to the extreme or protecting our constitutional rights? You know, America was built on the Constitution, and we should stick by it, not push it to the side because we feel we outgrew it. Now, there are things that we are experiencing now that weren't covered back in the Constitution, i.e. the internet, the new way of thinking kind of thing. But you just add to it. You don't take away from it, you know. And that's a problem with America is we're too overregulated. You know, businesses are shutting down because we're being forced to do and buy certain things, mostly insurance and stuff that we don't want or need. You know, don't take that the wrong way. Everybody needs insurance, but we shouldn't be forced to pay something we can't afford. You know, we're supposed to be stimulating jobs, not closing them down, and that's what I think we're doing. Should we have a universal medical insurance? Yeah, I believe so. Other countries do it. Why can't we? The problem is too many people are looking to make money on it. And in doing so, you know, we're going to have a lot of feathers being plucked. And, you know, it's just going to end up hurting the American people in the long run. Now, back in 2009, 2010, the Jobs Act was implemented, making it easier. The thing is, it all sounds good on paper, but in reality, it's not really helping much. You know, I hope they try to push certain aspects of it, but like anything, there's good and bad. And I'm hoping that things work out and people start getting back to work. You know, unemployment, they stay realistically, it's 10% or so. I mean, on paper it's 10%, but realistically it's over 20%. And you figure 1 out of 5 people you run into is unemployed, and to me that's a shame. Now, it makes us realize that, yeah, we have the potential to grow, because if you put them 20% back to work, this country could flourish. The thing is, we keep outsourcing and making China, who we don't have a trade pact with, is taking over our jobs. Now, is it cheaper for them to produce it? Yeah, but what's better? Sending our money overseas or keeping it here? You pay $10 to somebody to work here, they're going to come and spend that $10 back in the community. Community thrives. Not everybody could do it, but that same person who you're paying could be buying stuff from your store and in return going around in a big chain. Everybody buying from each other. And community is very big. And I don't know, last Friday you guys went out for Black Friday. It was insane. I did not go. I lied to you. I did go, but in the afternoon, not for any Black Friday sales, just because I had to pick up a couple things for my residents. Saturday was supposed to be Small Business Saturday. Now, I hope you guys went around to your communities and bought stuff from the communities. That's very important for everybody. It could save the economy. You think about it, with this election, there's some estimates they spent over $1 billion. Other estimates saying total with all the campaigns, $2 billion. Now, that is a major, major chunk of change, just to be spent in the last 6 months. That could definitely boost the economy, considering it went to certain areas. The money is in the community. It will go around, all around. Unfortunately, not that much money was spent in our area. Lobiando didn't feel he had to spend that much. He only spent just over $400,000. Everybody else spent a little bit of money. Cassandra spent a little bit of money. Those running for Congress. You had a couple senators, but they didn't really spend that much down here. And I just don't understand why. We just have such a beautiful, wonderful area. Why we just keep being forgotten about? And I think what it is Lobiando's here. People are comfortable with him. He's been here for 18 years, and nobody wants change. Unfortunately, what nobody realizes is change is coming. And it's not going to be good for everybody. And whether we voted for Lobiando or not, he's not doing anything to correct it. Just last week, he voted no for a pact with Russia. Now, I don't know if you understand about trade pacts, but that opens up our economy and their economy, so we do business with them. We've been trading with China for several decades, and we don't even have a pact with them. And look, we built China up to the point to where they're the new America. That's where everybody's going to be putting their money and everything. And we don't know how they're going to handle it. They may get the idea they want supremacy, kind of like Hitler did back in the 30s and 40s. We don't know what's going to happen. And I hope everything works out for the best, but, we're falling behind in several different things. And during my campaign, this is what I tried to express to everybody, that we need to correct things. The way to fix the economy is through jobs, through cutting spending, which people are talking about, but through taxation, a reduction of it, not the increase of, and through growth. And there's several things you could do to do that, but unfortunately, I don't have that opportunity. But now there's a guy out there called Grover Norquist. Well, he's been out there for a while, and all the Republicans that came in, he asked that they sign this treaty with him not to raise taxes. And now all the Republicans are backing out of the treaty with him. Not that he's anything of importance. He's not a politician or anything like that. He's just somebody who wants to control a situation. But the problem is, if people back out of this treaty with him, the next election, he'll fund the opponents and get them out of office. Now, my personal opinion on that, I don't want taxes. The raising of taxes anyway. But I don't need to sign a treaty with somebody who has nothing to do with anything. Telling you that, and then going against it afterwards. Realistically, he's not, our guy signed it, and he's not doing anything to benefit us. What does this Norquist have to do with us? Granted, we don't want taxes, but, You don't have to sign a treaty not to declare taxes. The point I'm trying to make here. You just don't go decide what you're going to do just not to do it. It doesn't make sense to go around signing personal treaties with people. Do what your constitution, what you are constantly, no, my words are tied, I apologize. You are constitutionally bound to do, and that's serve your constituents in your district. If your constituents don't need taxes, then you don't raise them. They're talking about how we're going to fund this, and they're also talking about, especially with Hurricane Sandy going through, how are we going to pay for this? Now we're $30-some-odd billion we're going to have to take care of to replenish our areas. And that leads to another thing. We have a golden opportunity to rebuild these areas that were hit by Hurricane Sandy to the point to where they make them better. You not just put a house here, put a house there, and go on from there. We have the opportunity to make things better and build it properly and plan it properly.
No, that's earlier in the day.
And I think that
10 to 11.
if we don't do that or concentrate on that, I think that we're going to drop the ball. $30 billion can do a lot for our area. Now, granted, that's just government funding. You also have homeowners insurance and stuff like that. But, we can still make a difference here. And I just hope that we do the right things in doing this. A lot of people were affected. They lost their homes, boats, cars, animals, friends. I think we could do so much more in making this better. And speaking of that,
I'm not sure.
my daughter, her
really
school,
sure.
Olivet School in Pittsgrove, is having a fundraiser, or not just a fundraiser for money or anything, foods, non-perishable stuff like that, coats, anything you could do. I know you've been giving a lot to different people, different organizations, the Red Cross, for her school, Olivet School in Pittsgrove, on Centerton Road, Buck Road area. They're looking. It's for Hurricane Sandy, obviously, but they're looking to do the fundraising thing. So anything you could do help, we would appreciate it. Also, Shore Fellowship down in Egg Harbor Township, they definitely need help trying to hook up different shelters again still in Atlantic City. People are still affected, schools, stuff like that. It's been a month today, a month today, that we had a hurricane. Well, a month by the date, but not necessarily by the day. And it's still affecting people, negatively, and that shouldn't be. We're a developed nation. We should have this under control, be more in control of this situation, not just a whole bunch of people haphazardly going around saying, hey, do this, do that. We got to be more in control with this and take care of it. It'll get a lot done and get money to where it needs to be on a more quicker basis. I applauded Obama and I applauded Christie for jumping in and doing what they needed to do right away, and that was important. Christie wasn't worried about what the party was saying. Yeah, they were running at the mouth, but that's their weakness. They don't know how to stop. And just because it's an election, you figure they'd show their game face, but they just let everybody down. And Christie did what he needed to do. Obama did what he needed to do. And Biden was here, not last Sunday, but the Sunday before. And going over and reevaluating everything. And not that we have a lot of faith in Biden, but, it still shows that the federal government is backing us and supporting us. And I definitely hope everything works out for everybody. Like I said, the family members that were affected, they lost their business, lost their boat. Some people, everything's destroyed. They need to get it back. I know certain districts down there were just so messed up. You're watching the island, the water just washed everything away. It was just like it wasn't even there. It's a shame. But let's see what happens. Hopefully everything works out. Look at it like this. A lot of memories are still memories. But now you have a chance to rebuild and make something a little bit better. And that's the whole point, is making better what isn't as good. And we'll see what happens with that, with not just with Hurricane Sandy, but with our new Congress, and see what Obama does his second term. I definitely want to see an improvement. Okay, we'll see what happens over the next couple years as to who runs, what Obama does. There was talk about Hillary Clinton wanting to run, but that scares me too. Seeing what happens with all that. Don't hesitate to question or look it up. Write down everything. If you want to email me, don't hesitate to do that. I haven't changed my email, but right now it's still bowenforcongress@gmail.com. If you want to look on our website, it's still davidwbowen.com. It's still a political website, but I don't have much on there as far as politics. Haven't been really on it. Figure I'd give ourselves a break from that, other than this and the other radio station. And we'll see how that goes. Anything you want to do, give us a holler, and we'll talk about it. Like I said, this is the voice of an independent nation. We want to hear your guys' opinions, talk about anything, as long as it's politics. It doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat. This is opinion. Whether you agree with my opinion or I agree with yours, that doesn't matter. We're just having a conversation. That's the good thing about it, is there is no right or wrong. It just is. And we just talk. I remember when it came time to vote, I was telling my wife, she was asking me who I felt she should vote for. I said, that's not my call. You have to investigate yourself who you feel comfortable with. I know who I was voting for, and I didn't want to influence my wife in any way. And my kids were going through mock elections in school and stuff, and they were saying the same thing. It's funny, the points they brought up. A child, regardless of the age, has an idea that's different than ours, and they see things differently. And like me, I'm totally analytical. I try to take everything apart and try to figure out what this says and what that means and all that. And my wife is totally the opposite way. And children are even more innocent. It's insane. It's almost a pleasure just to watch. Well, it is a pleasure just to watch them and listen to them when they start analyzing things in their innocent mind, how they come to a conclusion. And it's wonderful, but also, you have to understand there's a lot of naiveness in with it. But it is what it is. You respect her for that. And just like your opinion or my opinion, I don't look at you any different if you're a Republican or Democrat or independent. As I was saying before, that makes no difference when it comes to American politics. Our situations are neither Republican or Democrat. They are American. And as America, we need to fix them, not as a political party in any way, shape, or form. But anyway, we're coming down to the last few seconds of our show. I do appreciate that you guys were paying attention. It's always a pleasure to entertain you, to hear from you. Again, don't hesitate to contact me in any way, shape, or form. The website is davidwbowen.com, or the email address is bowenforcongress, the number 4 Congress, @gmail.com. Otherwise, you can call us, and I look forward to hearing from you again next week. Have a good day.
You've been listening to Voice of an Independent Nation with David W. Bowen. The program is a paid political program.